and welcome to another episode of Making a Habit. Generally, as an introduction to our channel, we would like to advocate that common sense is not very common, and generally, habits are very difficult to form without consistency. In this episode, we will also highlight certain behaviors or characteristics of individuals that will be able to showcase how we could develop a good habit with consistency. And of course, the channel Baking a Habit at a deeper level suggests that with the right ingredients, effort, and consistency, the final big products will always be a sell-out and a popular product for both yourself and others to consume. Ultimately, your habits will determine your future, and health, wealth, success, and fitness are determined by these habits. I understand that we are all busy people and our time is limited. We will keep our episodes short and sweet for you to get on with your life and to live the best version of it, hopefully with lessons learned from here. This podcast and its episodes are suitable for anyone with a keen interest in leading a well-lived life, and hopefully the contents here will be helpful for all of us as a guiding principle and a beacon of hope. It does not matter if you're a student, working adult, or a retiree. The idea behind this channel is to advocate for better life principles in arriving at our final goals and aspirations. Some of you may have experienced what is shared here. Some of you may have, but ultimately, the benefits of learning this firsthand or re-experiencing this again will nourish our souls to its core. Without further ado, I will start the third episode of Making a Habit. And this episode covers Michael Jordan and how he stood out. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and I've missed. I failed over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. Putting my 2 cents into this quote, I think that for us to succeed, we also need to learn how to fail. But the key here is executing a fast failure, meaning that we do not dwell in a failure, we fail fast, and then we learn from that lesson, and then we take that lesson to succeed even better in the future. Okay, so back to the topic at hand, Michael Jordan and how he stood out. Generally, I will just cover the brief statistics of his career so far. He has a 15-year NBA career, and in terms of the all-time leader score, he's position number five. He's at position number five with 1072 games played and a total points of 32,292. And that averages out to 30 points per game. Let's contrast this to the current leader in the all-time leader stat, which is LeBron James at number one with 1,479 games and a total points scored of 4. That averages out to around 27 points per game. Michael Jordan has 6 championships and 5 MVP titles, or most valuable player title. And as a brief rundown, Michael Jordan, because of his successes in the realm of NBA, has propelled a tiny sneaker company in Oregon into an international icon. This tiny sneaker company is known as Nike, and in today's day and age, Nike it's a giant and it's a top sport icon and it's a top sport brand as well. Apart from popularizing Nike, Michael Jordan has also put black athletes on the world map in addition to popularizing NBA as a sport and as an organization. In fact, when we look at the interview that was conducted with Michael Jordan in 2020 with the GQ, he said that generally speaking, it was easier for him to stay in shape when he was still playing competitively, and that's because of the amount of training and exercise and drills that he had to go through on a day-to-day basis. And in other words, when we talk about training drills and a regimen, it's generally a good habit that he had. So that at that point in time, he was at the peak of his career and he was performing his best abilities possible. He could even score with his left hand, which is not something common among us normal basketball players, rather people who don't play basketball. And of course, now since he has retired and he no longer plays competitively, he says he finds it harder to achieve his ideal weight because the discipline is no longer there. He doesn't have the same kind of motivation to succeed as when he was playing competitively. So generally speaking, for us to develop a habit, the takeaway message from this is that for us to also develop a habit, we have to have an objective in mind to develop that habit. For example, you plan to lose weight to fit into a dress. So your motivation is to fit into a specific dress. Hence, the habit that you put in place would be to exercise vigorously to ensure that you lose the certain amount of weight so that you're able to fit into the dress. Of course, beyond that objective, which is after you have fit into the dress, that habit no longer applies because you have already achieved your objective. So we can actually say that there is a similarities in the situation shared by Michael Jordan over here. But of course, as we have covered in the previous section, for us, when we try to develop a habit, we try to keep it a lifelong habit because ultimately we want to live a good life. And in our version of the good life, a good habit has to stay for us to live the best potential or best possible life. And of course, in the interview with Michael Jordan, he also mentioned that I never took a shot, and I never wanted anyone else to take a shortcut. So generally speaking, for a good habit to develop, we have to institute good practices in place for us to break this habit, for us to develop this habit, and ultimately it becomes part of our lifestyle. Once the habit stays in place, generally, if there is no deviation to our lifestyle, that habit will stay for a long time with us. And of course, I'll move on to the next part of this episode where I cover a bit on the NBA all-time leaders from the top one, the top five. So the top one is LeBron James. Number two is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Third is Karl Malone. Fourth is Kobe Bryant, and fifth is Michael Jordan. Generally, Michael Jordan defined an era, but he is not the very best. There are other players in the NBA that are also very successful, and they have all achieved their respective successes through their own good habits. LeBron James is the all-time scorer. Uh, just to share the statistics, he has played in 1,479 games. He has a total points scored of 40,114. So this is actually higher than Michael Jordan's total points scored. But however, his point per game averages only 27 points per game versus 30 points per game for Michael Jordan. So over here, we can actually see that beside Michael Jordan scoring a higher average point, LeBron James scored more points in his all-time career. And the fact that he is still playing means that he can still accrue more points going forward from here. What we can take away from here is that sometimes when life gives us an opportunity, we have to seize it with both hands. If we take on sufficient opportunities, statistically, we would have more successes in life. For example, if you only seize one opportunity in your life, your percentage of success is say 10% of one opportunity. Whereas if you seize 100 opportunities in life, even if your success percentage is 1%, you have a one in 100 uh, of potential to succeed if you seize that opportunity. So similarly in LeBron James' case, he has taken more shots on in his career than Michael Jordan. And as a result, he has scored more points. But is he more accurate when it comes to shooting? No. But did he sees more opportunities than Michael Jordan? Yes. So learning from all these lessons, the most important thing for all of us is firstly to develop a good habit, and secondly, to seize the opportunities that are available in this day and age for us to increase our probability of success. I hope this episode was helpful. That is all from me for this episode. Goodbye.